So what LL was talking about was, this is an excerpt from his interview with Charlemagne. It's a short on Bringing Down a Band. And he's kind of talking about, I guess Charlemagne kind of challenges him to say, hey man, you're a legacy act at this point. Does that scare you when you're this age and you get ready to drop a project? And I love the take that LL had in terms of how he approaches it at this age. So let's run the clip and I'd be curious to see what you guys think about it.
Start over.
Critics will consider it risky though, because of your icon status, to release a new album so long after your last one. What would you say?
I'd say that's the whole point. Like, that's the fun part of it, right? It's like, listen, there is no great artist, great athlete, or anybody that's great at anything. If you cannot be great if you're not willing to be vulnerable. And this vulnerability comes from having the strength and the courage to go after what it is that you want and risk looking foolish in the process. LeBron doesn't get the last shot. Steph Curry doesn't take the last shot if he's worried about his legacy, right? Kobe don't take the last shot if he's worried about his legacy. LeBron stops playing 3-4 years ago if he's worried about his legacy, but because he wants to push the envelope, you're having a conversation, look at what this guy can do in year 20, look what he can do in year 5, right? You see what I'm saying? So to me, it's like, that's the fun of it. Like, I love that challenge. That's what makes it worth it.
So there's a couple ways we can discuss this, right? So one being his approach. Do you like his approach and why? And do you think there are older artists that have the same approach, or maybe some examples of it either working or not? Or two, like, just what does this even look like for LL as he gets ready to drop his new project? Does this, because there's a lot of people that are going to love him regardless. So it may not be the necessary risk, but we can kind of focus on the first part as to maybe some examples or just how you feel overall about what he said at first.
I don't think there's any risk of destroying or hurting his legacy at this point, because he is LL Cool J. He is the first artist on Def Jam. He did, he's Mama Said Knock You Out. He got the Vanguard Award. He's got the Grammys. He's got the, the record sales to back up a lot of, he's the first one to do like a vulnerable love song. And, a lot of other people tried it after that and it didn't work.
He's got the accidental racist as well.
Oh, he does have that. That's probably why he doesn't follow. That's why he doesn't follow me on Twitter.
Yeah, you definitely messed that connection.
Whatever.
Thanks,
but,
Jay Moore.
So that didn't taint his legacy?
Not to me.
Good question.
No, not to me, because he's still LL Cool J. He's still the person that made me fall in love with hip hop.
But at the same time, you were very biased towards LL Cool J. I can back
to
that
his
up.
point.
Which is fine.
What I'll add to his point, I'm biased to LL Cool J as well, to a certain extent, because LL Cool J again his legacy is cemented in hip hop. Like he said, he's the first rap artist on Def Jam. And he's done some things that other rap artists still haven't done, and he's still here.
And let me ask you this. I'll give you an example. We talk about. Let's just talk about a group like the Temptations. We know My Girl. We know, Just My Imagination. Songs that are cemented in culture,
stand the test of time.
I remember. But you got to understand, the Temptations. They put out a record when I started working in radio, and that's in 1999. Stay was a song that actually sampled My Girl, and they flipped it into a new record. This Is My Promise to You. You got to be a Temptations head, maybe didn't know what I'm talking about, but they were still able to make new records into the 90s and late 90s, into the 2000s. Now, of course, Otis was the only original member, but it was still the Temptations. And nobody would pull Otis to the side or any of the members and say, hey man, why are you making these new Temptation records? We just want to hear, the songs you made, between, 67 and 75. I might be messing up the timeline. What a lot of people call the golden period with David Ruffin and going into when Dennis Edwards joined the group.
For sure.
And you got to understand, if they just do records from that era, they don't even have to go into, Standing on the Top from the 80s and Treat Her Like a Lady. They don't have to do none of those records. LL could get on stage and say, I'm just going to I'm going to do records from radio. Let's see, Bigger and Deffer. Yeah. Maybe not so much Walking with the Panther. Well, you still have a big old butt from Walking with the Panther. And then going into Mama Said Knock You Out. You're talking about his first 4 albums, and he could do a whole concert and no one would feel like they were cheated.
No,
That's where I'm talking about his legacy. But him doing new records that I can say, hey, I like these records as an LL fan, and I don't think doing new records when you've already established yourself does anything to change your legacy. Long story short.
But what do y'all think about? I guess what I'm saying is, first of all, I see what you're saying in terms of him and his legacy because he's stamped.
That shows the respect I have for him because I'm comparing LL to the Temptations.
No, for sure. But
in a good way.
I guess what I'm looking at is more about his approach to it, not if he can pull it off. How he sounded talking about it, the confidence that he's talking about.
To me, it sounds like he has nothing to prove. That's the whole reason he brought up LeBron. LeBron is at a stage in his career where he has nothing left to prove. He could walk away from the game right now. He's already cemented and stamped as one of the greatest to ever pick up a basketball. The same is true to LL Cool J. You have to cement him as one of the I can't say founding fathers, but he definitely laid a blueprint for artists to follow and became a standard for artists to follow. He has some stuff that I don't rock with, but at the end of the day, even if he drops his album and I don't like it, he's still LL Cool J at the end of the day. Now, every artist does not have that same luxury. And what I mean by that is there can be a legacy artist that they don't move the culture the same way now as an LL Cool J does, because LL Cool J, even though he hasn't been dropping any records, he's still been in people's living rooms on TV. So there's people that might know who LL Cool J.
Shout out to Lil Cool J.
Too many L's. It's people that know who LL Cool J is and don't even know that he raps. The same is true for Ice-T.
Yeah.
Same is true for Ice Cube. You know what I'm saying? These people are legacy artists who transcend. Will Smith. Will Smith has new music coming out right now. Am I excited to hear this new Will Smith record?
Of course.
I hate you.
I can't say that I am.
I hate him.
But he is a legacy artist because he still has a catalog that he could tour with or piggyback on somebody else's tour, and people are going to pay to see him.
People went crazy when he came out and did Men in Black at Coachella.
Yes.
Jump in, Lo.
I think LL's statement was what you were saying about the LeBron stuff. I think he was actually saying the reason why LeBron and Kobe and Jordan are great is because
they can still close.
They can still, and they know how to continue to do it.
Yep.
Through their 40th year. And I think that's what he was saying was like, that's part of the reason, even in that interview where he's talking about, he did the 30 records with Dre almost as a practice.
Yep.
So that he could drop something that would be phenomenal. It's just like LeBron in the weight room or Jordan in the practice room.
That nothing like a phenomenon wasn't it.
There's a couple on there. Don't be disrespectful.
Bruh.
I haven't heard.
4, 3, 2, 1 was still on phenomenon.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, okay, that's one out of how many?
Go ahead, Long.
Father was on there.
Go ahead, Long. Go ahead.
Jordan had his years where he was the old man on the Wizards, so I mean, it's just what it is.
He would still go to the All-Star game and bust their ass.
But did you notice that he also said that LeBron and Steph Curry, I think this is why he tied himself into them as well. They didn't care about the outcome because they're so used. They weren't scared to take the last shots.
Yeah.
There's no fear. They've done it so long. It doesn't matter.
That's subjective.
It's just practice. It's, it is subjective. But I don't know. I feel like I think I kind of agree that I don't think you can really taint a legacy. Well, you can taint a legacy.
R. Kelly.
Kanye West has tainted his legacy.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Like that. You can do that, but I don't.
You
know,
almost rewrite your story.
But I don't know if you can do that from just a sheer musical standpoint, unless it's like just really god awful.
See, that was going to be the second portion. Is are there examples where we've watched and been involved with hip hop long enough to know where we've had some of our favorite artists drop projects and we can say, okay, that's not it, but
they just don't got it anymore or something.
But that's different from saying, oh man, this is going to taint how I look at them moving forward. Like to me, those are two different things because you can drop the ball and rebound.
Yeah.
But are there any instances where you guys can think where you can say, man, once Fam dropped that, he dropped 3 or 4 more projects that was trash and it never was the same. Does that?
The only thing that I can speak to that are legacy hip hop artists that never found the newer sound and never could catch up to it.
Okay.
Like I've seen that, but I've never seen. But even within that, I've never seen those artists necessarily be whack. It's just that they weren't up to date with anything that was relevant.
Or I just don't want to hear any of your new stuff. Just keep playing the old.
Same. Yeah, it goes along with the same.
We've been
same
there.
mind frame.
We've been there.
But I don't know if I've seen anybody that's like
that's just made that mistake where it's almost like you can't come back from said mistake. You see what I'm saying?
I don't think anybody has made that mistake unless it was a scandal.
I don't think you can.
Essentially, because somebody will still check for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I might get. My ears might be tired of it. I might not want to listen to that because to me personally, it makes me be like, I'm cool. I'm not excited about it.
To your point about the scandal, what you're going to say, imagine if Rez's beats all moving forward sounded like that beat video that he did, that commercial.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Okay, yeah.
Right, all of them sounded like that.
Yeah.
And then you found out that like, there was somebody else in the studio with him back in the Wu-Tang days. Then maybe you could look at his legacy a little bit different.
Yeah, but I mean, in this comes up when we talk about Dr. Dre, about the multiple producers that were in the room with him, that doesn't taint his legacy.
The reason why it doesn't taint Dr. Dre's legacy, and this is just me from producer standpoint.
I just meant in the sense that we found out Reza wasn't actually making the beats.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? Or didn't have as much of a
that's what I was about to say.
Footprint.
Because Dre is still in there. It's not DJ Khaled. Like Dre's in there. Yeah, I meant to say that. It's not DJ Khaled. Like he's an A&R to me. He's an A&R. Okay, this producer sent me a dope beat that's 95%
the most
done.
recent scandal, Puffy, and we've had discussion about. He's not really a producer.
Right.
Like you said earlier, he was with the Hitmen. The Hitmen produced a lot of that stuff. He put his name on it.
Yeah.
But at the same token, that whole legacy is tainted because of a scandal right now.
I think it makes it easier to.
That's fair.
I think it makes it easier to highlight the things that you don't like about somebody.
The scandal?
You know, yeah. I mean, to your point, Terry, it's like, all right, all the stuff that we kind of already said about Puffy, but we just kind of said it in passing. Now it becomes more of like, no, that's really what you are. You know?
Yeah. I agree with that. It pushes it to the forefront where you can't hide
it's
from
like,
it.
you've always been a snake.
Yeah. Now everybody knows.
Yeah.
But when we're talking about rappers, so to speak, so like, honestly, I don't want to hear new Melly Mel tracks. I don't want to hear that.
We heard new Melly Mel tracks.
Yeah,
I don't want to hear that.
Counted to 8.
Yeah, don't do that long.
He did.
It's what he did,
Like, if I was lying, tell me,
You ain't lying, but don't do that.
Let's keep what you built in the past and build on that, but I'm cool on new stuff from him. I love the fact that Dougie Fresh transitioned to more of a host.
Which he's great at.
And still doing his legacy music as he hosts. But like certain people, when it comes to their style, is dated. They never evolve, so to speak, with the time. So I think they're cool for what they do, but I don't want to hear you trying to do new stuff.
I think you make a good point about Dougie Fresh because he is the prime example of what we always talk about, where we talk about the older or the legacy artists that have applied the updated kit. He found a way to keep himself relevant by doing hosting. He can still do Lottie Dottie,
performing his stuff,
and bring Slick Rick out. And I'm gonna go crazy if I see that because I know what that is. So he's one of the people that's one of the OGs that was actually able to make the correct transition, in my opinion, and it works. I'm saying, like, it makes sense. But we've seen the other side of that as well, where it's like, nah, fam, like this is not 01.
Yeah,
it's not.
It's even. I even hate to say it, but like even that new Rakim record. Did you guys listen to it?
That's actually I was gonna make that point too.
Yeah,
it's like it's not like it's bad.
No,
it just sounds a little dated, and it's it's not like what I wanted to hear. Like I think I know that you guys have mentioned like it's not. We wanted to hear Rakim on a Rakim record.
Yeah.
Yeah, after all this time, I didn't want to hear a compilation, even though like he was trying to do. From what I'm seeing, like his own kind of like chronic, if you will, because he produced a majority of these records.
Yeah. If not all, did the scratches.
Scratching. Like this is his also, not just him being the hard rhymer. You know what I'm saying? He's also on here trying to, solidify himself as a musician.
You know what's crazy? The video that we reviewed with the record with Master Killer
and Corrupt,
and Corrupt.
I like that one.
That one gave me more. I was more optimistic, right? Now you all played me some records before we came on, and I'm like, Man, 98 to 02.
Yeah.
2001. Not saying Rock can't still rap, because he definitely can still rap.
That's not what it is, man. With his particular project, and again, I want to reference that this takes nothing away from his legacy.
No,
for sure.
But if I'm looking for a Rakim album, I would prefer to hear Rakim mainly with a feature in there. The only thing that bothered me on this album is there's features on every song, and it's feature written to the point where it turned into a compilation. Yeah. And I'm listening, trying to hear Rakim, who I pretty much press play to hear Rakim.
I did.
And I'm hearing everybody else. And the album actually isn't a bad album.
Mm-hmm.
Just, it sounds like a compilation, man.
That's the thing.
That's the thing. It's a compilation, and there's too many features.
Too many features.
There's like 5 people on the album that have passed away.
There's a record that has Terry was playing. I think you guys may have been. No, it wasn't when I first got here, but one of the records that I heard like 3 of them. When I got here, it was 7 minutes.
Yeah,
that's the one with Cannabis.
Right,
and
Chino, rest in peace, 𝐀𝐄𝐀𝐒, and somebody else. I think Sky Zoo was rapping when I came downstairs.
I think 𝐷𝗚𝗏 on that one.
I think so.
Big Noy was on there on one of them that I heard.
There's a Nipsey Hussle record on this.
Yeah, there's a Fred the Godson verse on there.
Yeah.
Rest in peace of Fred. Rest in peace of Nip. Rest in peace of Prodigy. So I feel you, man. Like, it's just,
I don't think it looks good for the legacy, but I don't think it hurts it.
You can't do nothing to hurt Rakim.
But he's cemented. But as a consumer, it's just my dream to have one of these ill MCs that preceded us, that's legendary, that's great, GOAT status type guys. Just go get with some dope producers and just make a record, man.
To his defense,
just do that.
He produced the whole thing.
No, I'm not mad at that, because this is his opus, right? So you want to get your dreams out. I'm not mad at that. Rod, do what you want to do.
I don't think
for me,
I don't think this is his opus. This can't be.
I don't think so either.
It can't be.
If he produced it and did all the scratches and picked the features.
But there's verses he's not even rapping on some of the songs.
He also during this press run of this album stated that he produced some of the stuff back in the Eric B. and Rakim days.
So, I missed that part. Okay.
And he's cut from the cloth of honing the elements of hip hop, so he knows how to DJ, he knows how to cut, he knows how to scratch.
Okay.
So this isn't anything that's new to him, and I wouldn't say that this is his magnum opus. I would say his magnum opus is Paid in Full.
See, I was thinking I didn't know that part, so Terry educated me on that. I didn't know we were pulling from the archives on some of these, and then maybe some of them are newer. So,
but you see,
the verses are definitely pulling from the archives.
I stand corrected, because there's clearly more features that y'all mentioned because I've only heard 3 or 4 records, but I got a feel for what the record is.
But one of the things,
based off what I heard.
and it's just kind of crazy when we talk about legacy artists, because Common, you could say, is a legacy artist.
Oh, 100%.
And this record he's done with Pete Rock is fantastic. I may be biased because Pete Rock is one of my favorite producers. Is in my top 5 of MCs. But like at the same time, I've been critical of Common's music. There's a couple albums I was like, nah, this ain't it, dog.
Common, like probably one of my favorite, if not my favorite rappers.
This album, the songs that we reviewed, just based on the songs we reviewed on here, this is what I'm here for.
Yeah,
and here
Common dropped some duds, and I'm a Common fan.
Yeah,
he didn't drop some duds.
Like the one where like it was some Microsoft Common albums out here that I wasn't here for.
That's well played.
And the thing is,
well played.
Because
Microsoft Paint Common, you mean?
No,
don't do that. Like, don't be disrespectful. Don't do that.
Because I'm such a fan. I listen to the albums all the way through, and I'm just like, nah, fam.
I was just trying to understand what the Microsoft.
No, because
it was soft.
No, because
is that what he was doing?
No, because he was a spokesman. I don't know if he still does the commercials for Microsoft.
Oh, did he? I didn't know that.
No, he was on commercials. Yeah, he was.
I'm picking up on the double entendre.
No,
I was soft.
I'm not trying to do that. I'm trying to just say, hey, my man, and shout out to him, is getting so much money from these Fortune 500 companies. Maybe he's not as tied into what he's supposed to be doing as an MC.
I know Common's catalog. There are some records on there in the midst. Now, we know what the ones are. We know what those are, right? We know that. But I'm just going to be honest. Nobody's smiling.
You even
the
like
Dreamer the Believer.
No, hold on. The Dreamer the Believer had some heat.
Cool.
It had some heat.
No, the Dreamer Believer was.
I liked it, but I didn't love it. And I'm a Common fan.
No, I love the Dreamer the Believer. That might be the last Common CD I bought.
What's the joint that Pharrell Universal Mind Control?
See, that was, you know what?
He came off of 2 classic albums on that.
But this is where I'm thinking. This is where
4.
Yeah,
talk to him.
That's true.
But this is the thing. This is where I'm going to shoot him some bail. That's the first record he did with no Pops rap on it because his father had passed away.
I'll take that.
So Universal,
That's some conspiracy theory things.
But I'll take that, Long.
but
I'm
then
gonna take
there's
that.
the
It's
record.
mysterious.
There's the record.
take
I don't
that.
know. It's like he's in the clouds and he's looking up. Let there be love or something.
Now that one right there has
Get
got
that out of here.
that one right there has got a couple joints. That's got a few joints on it.
There were songs I like, but I was like, this ain't Common.
Common used to
So
drop.
like this now, when I hear this with Pete Rock, where he's like really locked in, I was like, okay, this is why I've tried to preach the gospel of Common over the last 25, 30 years.
But to circle the block back to Rakim, Rakim is a legend. He I don't need nothing else from him. But just I'm being stingy when I say what I said earlier.
Well, no, because
if I can just get him with,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
Because we want the best for the people that we have high regard and respect for.
That's all I'm saying.
I would love to hear it, because one of my favorite Rakim songs is a record called "When I Be on the Mic" that came out in 1999 that DJ Premier produced.
Go listen to the 18th letter.
I like this classic record or classic verse with that. Was that
with
Kanye
and Primo and
Nas.
Yeah.
So that's just my thing, man. It's go get with who you need to get with and just give us one.
But
I think he did. I think that's what he thought he was doing.
He wanted to get this out of his system.
All right.
And once again,
I'm not mad at it.
I'm not either.
It's not a horrible project. You know,
no,
it's not.
It's not. We know what trash is. We know when we hear trash. It's not trash.
It's just after 15 or 16 years not hearing a Rakim album, I want to hear a Rakim album.
Yeah, and that single the one that we reviewed, I was in on that 100%.
Yeah, the ones he's rapping on are fire.
Yes, yeah.
And he's got some dope joints on there where he's just doing the chorus or whatever. But yeah, but again, we're talking with LL's project. It hasn't came out yet. He's doing a really good press run.
He's 2 for 2.
We've talked about him for 3 weeks.
LL popping up, bro. He's popping up.
He's doing what he's supposed to do. So we'll see what this sounds like when it comes out.
I'm not gonna say excited. I'm not about to jump out the window. But LL has my attention based off how he's talking plus the 2 records. He has my attention.
Look, he could have not said anything and just let the music stand for itself and he'd have my attention.
Well, you different.
But again, like I said,
you different.
You're an LL fan.
Yeah, I mean, but
you're a fan.
Yeah.
Super fan.
That's what I'm saying. Like there's no shame in it.
If Ice-T drop an EP tomorrow, you gonna go get it.
It's like I'm a fan. Like I listen to anything LL, Common, Fonte. I'll say it. I can't say it.
Yes, you can say it. Go ahead and say it.
I haven't listened to all. At a certain point, I stopped listening to Ice-T.
Jay Moore, if Ice-T drop an EP tomorrow, you gonna take a flyer and get that mug.
But Ice-T with Ice-T's first 5 albums, you can't tell me nothing.
I think I'm cool, but Ice Cube was one of my favorite MCs coming up.
Yeah,
and he dropped some duds.
He did,
and it did not tarnish his legacy because he did so much.
War and Peace Volume 2 did not tarnish Ice Cube's legacy.
That wasn't it.
Volume 1 had heat though.
It did. I mean,
don't do that. Volume 1 had heat.
Wait, oh no, I'm not mad. I'm not.
Volume 1 had heat.
I mean, even Volume 2 had When We Rich,
but 2 wasn't it though. No. 2 wasn't it. 2 wasn't it.
He had his run, and it, regardless of what happened, his legacy isn't tarnished.
True.
And Ice Cube could circle the block right now, and people would be hype about what he had to say.